Steve here. Recently, Jeremy left a comment. Build Life, you should do a video on where you buy land. I think that's a capital idea. So Jeremy, buddy, this one's for you. First, a little bit about me. I bought my first rental property in 2013. I own a roofing and siding company, and my first property was a shop and office for my business. We took that property down to the studs, inside and out. It probably should have been torn down and built a new one, but I enjoy taking dilapidated houses and bringing them back to life. The following year, after we finished that, we had a big hailstorm in our area. So 8 months later, without a day off, we finished up that hailstorm, and I had money to buy 2 properties and pay cash for them. One of the properties was a single family home, and the other was 2 houses on the same property. It's a house and a big garage with apartment above it. Again, we spent the next year fixing the 2 of those up, and I had some really nice rental properties when we were done. With those fixed up, I took a loan on them, built a new house and shop for me personally, took a loan on that, bought this house for $18,000, spent nearly $100,000 remodeling it. I turned it into an escape room for 2 years, closed it from COVID, turned it into a 2-flat, bought this one really cheap, it's still under construction, bought some land in Kentucky, bought the house next door to the land in Kentucky, and now we're 3/4 done with the first cabin on 83 acres. Okay, so how did we pick our land in Kentucky? Well, obviously we had to pick a place that would let us do what we want. And I think it should go without saying that you have to do a little homework before you just dive in. There are lots of channels with formulas and spreadsheets and flow charts that tell you how to pick a property that's perfect for building a short-term rental site on. I'm a roofer, I don't even know what a flow chart is. My family and I have been traveling to eastern Kentucky for the last 12 years. We go there on vacation and we rent a cabin when we go. We enjoy the area and the people, so this was a natural place for us to buy land. We first looked for land in 2018, but due to a series of unfortunate events I won't get into, we were forced to put our search on hold. In 2019, we had another hailstorm. Remember, roofing company? We began our search again. Because our search had already had a few bumps in the road, we were determined to find a place even through COVID, and that's what we did. We picked our area in Kentucky because we enjoyed going there. We had been going there for the last 12 years, and we wanted to build a place there regardless whether we had rentals or not. The short-term rental concept really became a reality for us after our search had already begun. It was a way to be able to afford more land and a place for us, essentially without any money out of pocket. We had talked to a lot of people in that area, and we knew that they had been building cabins there for a really long time. Some we had been staying in were decades old. Well, in fact, the houses were hundreds of years old, some of them, but they had been owned specifically as a short-term rental for quite some time. And according to a lot of people, close to 15% of the homes in that area are rental cabins, and they can't build them fast enough. What makes it safe for us is that we bought our land for cash. I'm building the cabins myself with some of my friends and family. I'm enjoying the process, and if the rental thing is a flop, we'd finish it anyways, because that's what we want for us, regardless of its success as a business. I have zero to lose. Does this mean that you can't build an investment property in an area that you don't want to move to or spend a lot of time in? No, but for me, it definitely made myself and my wife a lot more comfortable going ahead with this project, knowing that that's what we would want to spend our money on either way. I have other sources of income with my long-term rentals here in Illinois, as well as my roofing and siding company. I didn't just quit my job to try and build something in the woods and hope it works out. I do believe that the short-term rental will be a success. But it's easier to gauge that when it's successfully renting than to just wing it and hope you can make something out of it. Another factor that led us to pick land in Kentucky is that it's relatively close. I've spent a lot of time in Colorado. I love the mountains. I loved snowboarding when I was a younger man, and I would love to own a place there. But that's a 16-hour drive on a good day, 20 with trailers and equipment, and that kind of travel time makes it impractical for us. Our place in Kentucky is still 7 or 8 hours away, but there have been times when I got up early, left at 3 a.m., and with the time change, I made it home in time to see my girls to school and have a cup of coffee with my wife. I think it's a good idea to stick with what you know. There are millions of people looking to rent places. Some like the woods, some like the country, some like the city. There's someone for every setting. I live less than 1 hour from downtown Chicago. For the same money, I could have bought a loft on Michigan Avenue and rented to people visiting the city. But I don't do well downtown, and neither do the guys helping me build in Kentucky. If the rental market flopped and I wound up with a unit in Chicago, it would rot or become a long-term rental. Our place in Kentucky is somewhere we want to be, whether it produces income or not. Having a successful short-term rental requires having a place people want to stay in. I think that's obvious. I would be a poor judge of what people visiting Michigan Avenue would want out of a rental. And on the flip side, I can tell you exactly what people staying in cabins in Kentucky would like because I've been one of them many times. I can tell you what places we've stayed in the past have done wrong, and I can tell you what they've done right. I've been taking notes for over a decade. Recently I did a video on which is better, a permanent cabin like I'm building, or more of a temporary structure like a glamping dome or safari tent. And I think the answer to that question is different for everyone. 25 years ago, I spent a lot of time in the woods sleeping on the dirt. Now we enjoy flush toilets and showers, air conditioning, a fridge, and Netflix. If you enjoy tents, maybe a glamping destination is right for you, since you know that market. I think one of the biggest mistakes people can make is doing something like that because it's cheap. But they themselves don't like that kind of place. When we first started shopping for properties, we looked with an older guy who I swear owned half of Kentucky. He showed us a lot of properties, but they were all 45 minutes to an hour away from town. And we thought, yeah, we like to be secluded, but does everybody? It's a real pain in the butt when you need to run to the grocery store just to grab something you forgot. Or what about if someone got hurt? It's an hour drive to the hospital and the cell phones don't work. The property we wound up buying now is about 10-minute drive from town where there's grocery stores, restaurants, and a hospital. It's something to think about. The same guy told me that local builders refer to that county as Freedom County because they have no permits and no building inspections. You can build whatever you want, where you want it, how you want it. As a guy who has spent my entire life in the building trades, I have spent a lot of time, I would say, working with building departments, but that's not always the way it comes across. I wanted to buy a place in this area for that reason alone. Our place is about 30 minutes from the Natural Bridge State Park in the Daniel Boone National Forest. That's about as far as we wanted to be from a major tourist attraction. We have found, though, that the more we go, the less time we spend at the park. It wouldn't be impossible to build something in an area with no major attractions, but you would have to be sure you provide plenty of activities at your property for guests to participate in, like a fire pit, hot tub, beanbags, frisbee golf. You get the idea. Some of our favorite camping trips as a family were at a friend's farm about 20 miles away. It's nothing fancy, but we have a lot of good memories there. Giving your guests the tools to make their own memories is as important as the location itself. So in my humble opinion, I would look for land in an area where building is possible, where short-term rentals have already been done, and one that you enjoy being in. If you are buying vacant land and building from the ground up, you'll spend a lot of time there. Build the type of places you enjoy staying in. Those are the ones you will be most qualified to build properly and own for a long time. Thanks for watching my little video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the things. and go build something. Anything.